Hey everyone, welcome to the podcast. Uh, Sorry I'm about an hour late today. We, my wife's been nursing a pain in her back since Friday. Um, and so we went to the hospital yesterday and couldn't find out anything. Um, what could be causing the pain? So she's in a lot of pain. So like she's on some medicines and stuff like that. Um, I'm trying to get her to see a doctor. But anyway, sorry that I'm late. Um, if any of y'all have seen my outline on the different topics for each week, I took it down because for some reason my dates and my schedule on it was not correct. So, but today is talking about the second commandment, and I wanted to start off with, um, and if you want to look it up, the the second commandment comes from. Well, I'm getting the commandments um, from Exodus 20, verse 2 through 17. Um, the base 10 commandments. Um, and it's today is talking about the idols, and I listed the title for this episode because it seems like the the God of the Bible um doesn't want anything to represent anything, uh and I say this, and I'll elaborate more. The part of the reason why I deconverted from Christianity and decided to take a deeper look into my own spiritual growth. Uh, and like I've said in previous videos, the things that I do, the things that I make, they to me they're my idols, and I can't even. And I'll explain that everything that I make, I have a purpose for. It may not be now, but there's things that I've built over time that have taken their life of their own. Just like my studio here, you see things, I changed things around, things that matter to me, like the butterflies that you see, there's four there. Uh, that was my aunt's, her favorite thing. She loved butterflies. She didn't have to even tell me she loved butterflies. I just knew because we would have, she'd have butterflies. She got there's four golden butterflies in our bathroom that they've been here for ever since we moved this house up here. Uh and and she was, you can't be spiritual with without having something that reminds you of something. Uh, Christians have idols and they don't realize it. You may be a Christian and you be like, oh, well, I guess I need to stop doing this. But what you'll wind up doing is you'll wind up deleting part of who you are. I see Christians go down the road in the back glass, and I had one. Actually, uh, I had one for my dad, and then I had one for two girls that had passed away in an aircraft crash. I had one for my dad, being my dad passed away, and that was something that I felt like I needed to do. I didn't have one for my nanny at the time, but then my sophomore year, two very popular girls that I went to school with, her and her best friend and her dad. The reason they were best friends is her dad and the girl's dad, they were best friends, and then they were best friends too. And Allison was one of the girls' names, and they were Shelby. They were best friends. And I'll tell you the story on here, the reason why I'm close to this here in a second. But Allison has a twin brother named Adam. And normally they celebrated their birthdays together, and they're like, no, the girls wanted to go on a trip with their dads, and Allison's dad was a pilot, and everything was going, fine, and they something happened into the plane. They were about 30 minutes out from the airport from landing, and they perished along with their dad. And we got word of it, and most beautiful souls. Even though they were popular, and even though they never was mean to people, they treated people like they wanted to be treated. They were decent girls. And they are truly missed. But they were good girls. Great girls, actually. And so I had a cross made where it's still kind of popular here, in loving memory of, and then it has a silhouette of a person kneeling before a cross. That's an idol. That's an idol. A Christian shouldn't be doing that. And I'll go through, like I said, the Second Amendment is, you shall not make any idols. And I've got some verses that, there's a lot of verses, I don't have them all, but I'll list them to you. But anyway, the reason that story is important is because I've talked about what had happened with how I got my native name and the things that I do, the reasons I do. And I don't know how far back this goes, because I don't remember actually when I had this dream. People call it deja vu, or something is there. And as I've said before, I put myself on the atheist platform, but there's some things that I uh, um that I can't explain by any other means besides something spiritual. And you know, you can't take, but anyway, I'll get to that. I'm jumping ahead. But Allison and Shelby were in my theater class. And when we got word, so Allison, Adam, James and Allison were dating at the time, and Shelby. They all hung out together. They were all friends. Very close friends. But they were in my theater class, and I actually sat, so my situation was I was on the right side of the class. They were the left corner side of the class. I was right the left corner of the in the class, and I sat right by the side of the stage. And it didn't register that I had had this dream until I'm looking straight. And when I look back to look and see there's, because we didn't get word until we were in our theater class. Like they let us know that in during that class. And I look back and it clicked in my head what I was witnessing. And I felt bad about it because I feel like I could have stopped it. And at the funeral, I didn't tell Adam, at school. And Shelby's mom and Allison's mom, they were teachers when our junior high, they were junior high teachers. And Allison, I think that it was our freshman year. Yeah, it was our freshman year that they had passed away. Um, I went to the viewing, or I don't think we didn't know they didn't have a viewing because, yeah, Allison and Shelby was found holding each other. That's how they were found in the wreckage. But I went and paid my respects at the funeral home, and I pulled Adam to the side because that's just the way I was. And I said, Adam, man, I'm so sorry. And he's like, don't worry about it, brother. And I said, no, I feel like I could have saved him. And he's like, well, what do you mean by that? And I told him what I had. He's like, there's no way you could have done it. You didn't even know it till, I didn't even know it until, when it was happening. And so, we, you could go down roads or whatever, and you can tell a lot about religion and symbols and idols, and you can go down, there's right down the road, there's a cross that somebody had passed there. Then you get on the main loop here, and there's I actually worked with a lady. She was right at work the husband had turned into, because you had to make a U-turn to go in to Walmart, and that's where she worked. Both of them was killed. There's two crosses there. You go down the road a little bit, there's another overpass. A family of five. A family of five. I don't know the situation because I don't remember. There's crosses there. They're actually buried in the same cemetery my dad is buried. My family's in. All those tombstones that you're walking, they're monuments. People, oh, they're not idols. They're monuments. They're there for remembrance. They are idols. Because the lives people lived is how we remember them. And this is the main reason why I left Christianity. One of the main reasons. Because if you take symbols and you take them away, you have no sense of a religion. It's empty. It's empty. Because humans want something tangible. We want something to cling to. We want something to remember our loved ones by. I have a story also. My Aunt Debbie. God rest her soul. She fought every day of her life. She fought every day of her life. My nanny did too, my mom did too, my aunt did too, and even my Uncle Bubba. Part of the butterflies. Four women in my life. My nanny, my mom, my Aunt Ann, and my Aunt Debbie. I go into our bathroom and there's four butterflies Aunt Ann had there for years. I'm not taking them down. They're hers. There's things that she's left up on the walls. They're staying on the walls. I repurposed a couple of them. I moved them around. Well, I've only moved one thing around. And that's hanging my light that's up there. Because it's a shepherd's hook of some sort. But she just had it in a weird place, and I needed a light over my desk. So I moved it over my desk. There's a picture. In the main living room. There's a karaoke cabinet there, and it was originally just my nanny in it. And then mom and nanny's there, and my aunt's with my cousin Michael. That's an idol. I walk by it and I talk to it. I ask for guidance. Yeah, I'm an atheist, but I do spiritual things. And there's going to be atheists come at me about that. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't mean that atheist means you don't believe in a God, per se. It's what it basically is. Now there's like there's some other, well, there's other scriptures that I will talk to about those. Um, you know, uh, I have. So this is my staff, and got turkey feathers, and it's got rabbit fur. And my staff, it's my ceremonial staff. But what's weird? Do you see this turtle shell? I painted that back in 2005. I painted it in 2005. I don't even. I think I found it some. I can't remember. I had another one that didn't have the bottom part. This part, and but I, I didn't have that. Um, that shell. I've had it since 2005, and I painted it then, and I had it glued together because it's the same animal. But 2 years ago, I was out when we first moved back home. Ooh, sorry, hope that didn't vibrate through y'all's ears. I hit my stand. But anyway, I was out cutting the brush, clearing the way, and I I didn't realize how straight that cedar tree was. I cut it down, and it was straight. I mean, you see how straight it was, and then this tomahawk is actually the same, came from that same tree. So I made that tomahawk too out of it because I felt bad for taking down the tree, and it was gore. Like I cut it down, I mean, just straight. I was like, I am not burning this. I can't. And it was only probably maybe 5, 6 years old. It's parents' trees out there, so, and it's straight as a board too, but it's a lot bigger, and it's not coming down anytime soon. But I took that one down, and when I cut, I was like, man, I don't, and I felt bad. And so I finished doing burning and clearing and stuff like that. And I said, what am I going to do with this thing? And a month before, or not a month, the week that my Aunt Ann passed away, I had made it, we made it, well, I went to go see my cousin Neshoba in Hot Springs. And he makes tomahawks. He's the one that made that one, if you can see it. And there's one down there that he told me to finish. Whenever I finish it, not finished yet, but he showed me basically what I needed to, understand at the time. Still not perfect at making them, but they're mine. But and then I was like, well, what can I put on top of my staff? And so I started looking. I was like, I still have that turtle shell, so I found that one. Couldn't find my other one. I don't know where it's at. It's lost the time. Somewhere there's a turtle shell with my initials, my ex initials in November 2005 on it. You ever come across one that says JD and CP in November 2005? You know it's mine because Oh, I don't even know where it's at. Um, but that one, the glue was something was happening weird with it. I was like, well, I got that, and so I was like, well, I could put that because you know the way things come together. And so I was like, I'll just put so I opened it up, opened it all the way. And Native Americans like things that rattle. And so I was like, well, what can I do to, and in a lot of musical instruments, like what's those? They they're in uh what are they called? Not the not the ones that have the symbols on them, but they're round. They have a appendage, and you shake them. I just call them a rattler. It looks like a rattler to me. I can't remember what they're called. But I was like, well, Native Americans, it's the three sisters: squash, beans, and corn. So I had I have beans laying around. So I went and grabbed some beans and put them in there and sealed it up, and now it's a rattler. It rattles when I rattle it, makes some noise. Um, it's an idol to me because it represents what I am. My logo. What you see in my logo, my deer is this. It's this, but the deer is my totem animal. The peacock is my nanny. Her, uh, I get my strength through her. She taught me a lot about life. And then the four starburst are my three kids and my wife. Maya's not on there because the winds of time will depict that when that happens. Those are the important people in my life. Mom, I don't have anything that represents my mom, but I do because the day she passed away, her feathers showed up. I made that into an earring. The day my Aunt Ann passed away, a feather showed up. I made that into an earring. So people say I have idols. I do. You may not see something as an idol, but if you really look down on it, it's an idol. I'm big into Willie Nelson. Some people, oh, he's a human. He's an idol to me. He's taught me things about life that I didn't understand before. There's other singers and songwriters I look up, and this thing is, I don't look at. I look at the person, yes, but it's the knowledge that they pass down that I gravitate towards. I like a good song that talks, talks about life. And that's, you can, oh, I don't worship. Yeah, you do. You may not realize it, but you do. But that's the thing, is you can't have life without having something that reminds you of something. That reminds you of where you've been, where you're going next. let me give you some examples in the Bible, okay? And we'll walk through these, okay? And you'll understand that I I can't make your decisions for you. And I'm not doing this to make people not or for. Uh, there's been some YouTubers and stuff that used to be on the atheist side, and they had pentagrams and stuff, and then all of a sudden, I mean, they had these tattoos, and then all of a sudden, they get religious to the fact of the Bible, and they start getting tattoos removed. And I'm gonna say my cousin, my pops, he didn't have one tattoo. Then he become a Christian, and he got tattooed up, crosses and Bible verses, and I was sitting. I mean, y'all know I have my ears pierced and I have tattoos. I only have one tattoo. I want more. Uh, but he went and got all kind of ink done with Christian things. And the Bible, and it will come. I don't know if I have it. It may be listed underneath this, but it talks about not tattooing your body. And I'm like, he got on to me the other day because, well, but a month ago, one of my earrings, I'd put new ones in, and the back of one of them wasn't. It was the little cone ones, and it was embedding into my ear. I thought it was one of my dangling ones, and it wasn't. It was one that I've had for a while, and it just the backing wasn't, and it was, and I was at my doctor's office. I was actually sitting waiting for my brother to come out, and I told Steph, I said, "Hey, will you check my ear? Because it's hurting. It should be healed." And she's like, "There's no back on your earring." And I said, "There better be a," and it come to find out it was in my ear. It was literally lodged in my ear. Well, next door was a hospital, and I felt so stupid walking into the hospital. Go into the hospital to get an ear back removed, earring back. My cousin called me. He's like, you ain't supposed to have earrings. And I said, well, you ain't supposed to have no tattoos on you either. So, what do you do? When you have things, life-changing events in your life, you either destroy the old you or you build a new one up, or kind of like what I've done in my life, I've merged them. And people don't burn sage, don't do smudging, don't do. If I didn't do those things, I wouldn't consider myself a native human, not just a Native American. I'm a human. We borrow from other things. You may not look at it as an idol, but really is. I'll tell you this. A lot of people don't know this, but when the camera was first invented, a lot of Native Americans would not want their pictures taken. That's why you don't see a lot of their pictures taken. You see like Geronimo and Crazy Horse. Uh, there's a couple others that I'm missing out. Like you see like handprints that, like in the Hopi, they have handprints and animals and certain symbols that we don't even know what means. But when photograph came out, a lot of the Native Americans, and I think, not mistaken, but I could be, uh mirrors. Mirror, break a mirror, get 7 years bad luck and stuff like that. Because they felt like you were taking some of their soul away. It was magic to them. It was magic to them. Now look at what we have video of each other. I'm putting this on YouTube. It's gonna be, as long as you can have access to the internet, it's here. It's my creation. It's my creation that I'm putting out. You 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 can't have a belief in something without having something that represents that to you. Let me get to these, and like I said, I'm not doing this to belittle anything, but let me run through these, okay, and then we'll talk some more. Okay, so, and this is, so part of thou shalt not make any idols. There comes a train. Sorry guys, I'm making sure that I don't get feedback from the train. Oh, my settings worked. Didn't pick up any of it. Okay, so the first one that I found was, do not destroy objects associated with God's name. That's Deuteronomy 12:4. Don't destroy any objects associated with God's name. Do not acquire into idolatry. Leviticus 9:4. Do not worship idols in the manner that they are worshipped. That's Exodus 20 verse 5. Do not worship idols in the 4 ways we worship God. The 4 cardinal directions: north, east, south, west. Do not make an idol for yourself. Do not make idols for others. Do not make human forms, even for decorative purposes. Exodus 20 verse 23. Do not turn a city to idolatry. Burn a city that has turned to idol worship. Let's go and burn everything. Do not build an idolatrous city that has been burned. Oh, excuse me, rebuild. I'm supposed to rebuild it. Do not derive benefits from an idolatrous city. Do not entice an individual to idol worship. Do not love those who entice others into idolatry. Do not cease hating an idolater. Do not save an idolater from being executed. Destroy idols and their accessories. I'm not giving the Bible verses. They are here. If you want those Bible verses, you can reach out to me. Let's see. Do not derive benefits from idols and their accessories. Do not derive benefits from ornaments of idols. Do not make a covenant with idolaters. Do not show favor to idolaters. Do not let idolaters dwell in the land of Egypt. Do not intimidate idolaters in customs and clothing. Do not prophesy in the name of an idolater, and do not swear in the name of an idol. Those are just some of the scriptures. There's much more to it. So there's much more to that. But you see where I'm getting at is there's much more in it in the Bible. And people say, well, that's the Old Testament. But Jesus was asked, and Jesus, being Jewish, and he did, I'm pretty sure, obey the Jewish law, because people ask him, what commandments should I follow? And he says all of them, but the most important one is to love your neighbor, or love your brother, or to love one another, I think is what it says. I'll get to it. But you know, people wear crosses as a symbol of their faith. Thomas is finding his path, and he's wearing crosses, and he's going to a Christian university. We'll see where it lands. But it's not just the Christian faith. It's Muslims. It's Native Americans. It's other polytheists, other monolithic, theist. But you see it in everywhere. You do a logo. You do and also you will walk into a church, and there's a big cross in the middle. There's a baptistry, and there's a cross. Or the altars are actually supposed to be simple. There's some commandments on the altars that I'll get to. But you see that this is in the Bible. You can't go through life without making, because the Bible's listing what an idol is. And so I'm just putting out there how I feel about it. And like I said, I can't be spiritually who I am and follow as a Christian. And any other religion like it. Because everything that I see, everything that I do, I see something in it. I don't have something just to have it. It means something to me. It doesn't matter if it's 50 cents or I spend millions of dollars on it. If I have it, there's a reason why I have it. You know, the things that I've made will last till way past the time I'm alive. My kids will come through and be like, oh, I remember when Dad did that, or I remember when Dad, like this hat. I wear it everywhere, most of the time, if I'm not wearing my cowboy hat. A lot of people don't see me without my rings on, without my cuffs, my necklaces I wear. And I get a lot of people asking me what the things mean. And they do. They give me purpose. They give me my identity. There's something that you wear that everybody knows you by. My Aunt Ann. She had a ring set and a watch that was supposed to go to my cousin, my pops. Somebody, there's some issues around it. We kind of figure out what's going on with it. It's not here. I've looked this place over. I mean, I've burnt stuff that, that I got rid of because, I mean, it was stuff that needed to get rid of. Like, there was clothes and, I mean, we'd had already sent stuff to everywhere we could. And I looked all over this place because Michael wanted his wife wanted them because they were promised. Was the Michael's the rightful owner of them? So people can tell me all they want to that they don't have idols. They don't. There's okay. There's people, and I get it, but their cars are their idols. You know, it's a statement piece for them. There's a couple cars that I would really, really love to have. I mean, they're considered an idol to me because I want one really bad. I want a couple of really, really bad. I'll bring this up too. The golden statue of Trump. Everyone's like, oh, you made him your God. You made him your God. And you know who I'm talking about and who I'm talking to. You want to sit there and practice what you preach? You said it loud and clear. All you that say the pledge of stand at attention and put your hand over your heart, making your country an idol. To me, my country's it's not an idol. It's a system of belief that that we are all created equally, that we all should have certain freedoms. I mean, I fly flags because I like them. You know, That one right there that I had made. There's a reason I made that. I don't know why yet. Uh, the pictures that you see right here, my mom and Steph, too, and my nanny and my dad up there too. Important in my life. You know, we people talk about that kind of stuff, and then you, like I said, you have these new Christians, and they're they're trying to do the best they can do to grasp their new religion. But 9 times out of 10, uh, what they don't understand is they've made new things their idols. They go in a church and there's a cross there. They may not worship that cross, but they know what that cross means. And as I read off to you, church should be an empty building. It shouldn't even really, technically, I don't even think it should be a building. Or, does that include being outside of nature? Because to me, my church is outside, out in nature. So, you know, it's up to you. It really is. It's up to you what you want. And, you know, it, it's not, I'm not pointing these out just to feed you lies and whatever. I want you to understand. And I want, if you're a new Christian and you see this, it's your call. It's you. It's your that's yours. But remember that whatever you do decide, it's your choice. It's your choice. That's what makes you you. A lot of people say, "Oh, you become a Christian, you become a new person." Anytime you change yourself, you are changing something for some reason, either good or bad. And so I hope that this little chat uh, has helped, and I hope that you can get something out of this. So I started this last week, and I wanted to do it again. So in the description of this video is the Cults to Consciousness podcast. I can't say her name right. So ex-Mormon, and she talks to other ex-Mormons and other religions, and she talks about how cults operate, and she's pretty she's a she's a pretty good source to follow. There's a link to her YouTube in the description below. I'm also want y'all to know I'll be doing these every Sunday, depending on if something happens and I have to change it. Uh, I'll let I'll put out a, I'll change it in the, uh, I'll have it up Wednesdays, like ready. It will show that it's being produced or whatever. Um, if something happens there, I will put a community post out. I've opened a Blue Sky. I have the Facebook group. Um, I really don't want to go to Instagram just because I don't use it. I've never really used it. All of it used as Discord, which I'm still trying to learn that, and Facebook. Um, Kind of want to get away from Facebook. That's why I went to Blue Sky. But uh, they're there. Um, just just think on what you do, and that's all my advice for you today. Y'all have a good one. Stay safe. I'll see you next week about this time. Y'all have a good day.